I gave you my heart.
Wine and Gossip Wednesday.
Oh, hey! I didn't see you there. How you guys doing on this fine Wednesday? I hope good. Well, it's been a tough week for me at work, so we better have some fun tonight. Because I've been looking forward to this day all week, as usual. Well, let's go into some news, regarding the world. Let's go check it out. See if we can find something interesting.
Ellen DeGeneres apologized to the staff members of her talk show in an email on Thursday. The email stated, "Obviously, something changed at the workplace. The workplace is always happy, no one ever raises their voice, and it's a place of respect. It's a place of happiness," she continued. "Everyone is kind to each other, and she always has a kind face," one of the employees had stated. "The workplace is always calm and people are respectful," Ellen DeGeneres later stated.
Wow, ain't that something? You guys get your cigars? About forgot that. Go and get your cigars out. And get your wine. Wine and Gossip Wednesday. You can't have a Wine and Gossip Wednesday without your cigars and your wine. Duh. Good old Cubans. You gotta have your Cubans, baby. You gotta have the Cubans. Gotta have it. I've been smoking them, see? Look at that. Not exactly full, but not exactly empty. Alright, y'all. Go ahead and see what we have for the spotlight today. Gotta get a move on here. Alright. Looks like I found something. How about we go with, well, who made the spotlight? I'm sure you guys know Ryan Reynolds, right? He's an actor. And his wife, Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds and his wife went ahead and got married in 2012 at Boone Plantation in South Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful plantation, but never okay to get married at a plantation, and here's why. I have personal feelings. I think, yes, it's kind of weird, might be disrespectful, but I think it's all in your intention and your heart. I feel like the plantation is beautiful, the area is beautiful, and you see the plantation, how beautiful it is because of some slaves. The slaves inside kept the house clean, kept the kids taken care of. They raised the children. They cooked for the families. They made sure the plantations, the home looked beautiful. They worked on the outside. The slaves are what made the plantation. They are what made the plantation. That is why when you look at that beautiful area and you see that plantation and you think, wow, that is a beautiful home. That is a beautiful land. Look at those weeping willows and all the moss in the area. That's because of slaves. That's because they worked their asses off. That's because they worked hard. So when you look at it that way and you see somebody say, wow, I want to get married on a plantation, or you see somebody say, that's a beautiful plantation, that's a beautiful home. Instead of being offended by everything, look at it expressing gratitude towards someone who spent their whole life making that place beautiful, a plantation. That's what slaves, they did that. They made that place a home. It was them. They made that area beautiful. They did that. So next time somebody says that plantation's beautiful, I want to celebrate on that land, don't take that as an insult. Take it as a compliment. Because they're complimenting the slaves that worked their ass off, that died for that. They were separated from their families for that. They were beaten for that. Did that and made that area beautiful. They lived there and died there. But when you see a plantation and you see that beautiful land in that area, it's because of a slave. They made that. They made that home. They made that plantation. They made it a home. They were separated from their families. It was a very ugly thing. But when you see that, how beautiful it is, it's because of them. And also, you know how God takes something, ugly, he takes something bad, and he makes something beautiful out of it? This is one example of that right there. Just something that a plantation that has such evil and darkness can be made into such a beautiful area that can be beautiful for hundreds of years. Still a beautiful place. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go on with this story, okay? That's how I feel, because I love plantation homes. I love the beauty around it. I love the pillars. I love the, antebellum look, that feel. I like that too. So, when planning their nuptials, some couples dream of having a classic Southern wedding at a grand column mansion with oak trees covered in Spanish moss and fireflies winking at dusk. A picturesque affair hosted on an antebellum estate that has made its facilities available to rent for parties and events. In other words, a plantation wedding. But there's a growing conscience that there's something deeply wrong with this concept. A beautiful mansion and sprawling estate cannot be separated from a horrifying violent history. These are monuments to American slavery, not a place to hold a celebration or a backdrop for beautiful photos. If anyone wanted to get married at a plantation, you must ask, what are you doing? What exactly are you saying about yourself? White Southerners may be the most likely candidates to choose a plantation wedding, as it might be the popular venue in the area, but they are far from alone. Speaking to the representatives for plantations like Middleton Place near Charleston, they say that people from all over the world of all races and genders opt to have their ceremony and reception there. So what do you guys think of a plantation wedding? Do you think someone should celebrate a new beginning, a life together at a plantation? What do you think? I told you what I thought already. It's a business. The plantation was a business system linked to forced labor of enslaved people. Plantations are the sites of violence and brutality, an enslaved labor camp with a pretty house on it. Plantations are the sites of violence and brutality, an enslaved labor camp with a pretty house on it. Ryan is very upset about that, and he feels very bad. Him and his wife feel really horrible about it. They are not racist. They just saw a beautiful home and wanted to have a wedding on it. But, I told you how I felt about it. Ryan and his wife are, they feel really horrible about it too. But I think there's I guess there could be a lot of disrespect towards that. But I think it's all in the intent. I think it's people, they see beauty in things and they only see what they see with their eyes. They're not thinking, about what happened, in the past. They're not thinking like that. They're thinking this is a beautiful area and I want it for my background and my wedding. Sometimes people, they don't really think about things. So I think I'm going to end this with this, and you guys think about that. Think about, what you think about having a plantation wedding. Would you do it? All right. You know what time it is? It's time to drink the wine. All right, guys. Good stuff. That was really good. It always is. Very delicious. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a good night tonight. Thanks for watching. Bye.
George Washington. When you won the revolution, How many of your soldiers did you send from the battlefield to the cotton field? How many had to trade in their rifles for plows? Can you blame the slaves who ran away to fight for the British because at least the redcoats were honest about their oppression? Thomas Jefferson, when you told Sally Hemings that you would free her children if she remained your mistress, did you think there was honor in your ultimatum? Did you think we wouldn't be able to recognize the assault in your signature that's raping your slave when you disguise it as bribery and make it less of a crime? When you wrote the Declaration of Independence, did you ever intend for black people to have freedom over their bodies? James Madison, when you wrote to Congress that black people should count as 3/5 of a person, how long did you have to look at your slaves to figure out the math? Was it easy to chop them up? Did you think they'd be happy being more than just half human? James Monroe, when you proposed sending slaves back to Africa, did black bodies feel like rented tools? When you branded them, did the scar on their chest include an expiration date? When you named the country Liberia, were you trying to be ironic? Does this really count as liberation? Andrew Jackson, was the Trail of Tears not enough for you? Was killing Cherokee, Choctaw, Creek, Seminoles not enough to quench your imperialism? How many brown bodies do you have to bulldoze before you can call it progress, Mr. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Jackson? When you put your hand on the Bible and swore to protect this country, let's be honest in who you were talking about. When the first Independence Day fireworks set the sky aflame, don't forget where we were watching from. So when you remember Jefferson's genius, don't forget the slaves who built the bookshelves in his library. When you remember Jackson's victories in war, don't forget what he was fighting to preserve. When you sing that this country was founded on freedom, don't forget the duet of shackles dragging against the ground my entire life. I have been taught how perfect this country was, but no one ever told me about the pages torn out of my textbooks, how black and brown bodies have been bludgeoned for 3 centuries and find no place in the curriculum. Oppression doesn't disappear just because you decided not to teach us that chapter. If you only hear one side of the story, at some point you have to question who the writer is.